So there's a quote from former General and Secretary of State Colin Powell that says, "None of us can change our yesterdays, but all of us can change our tomorrows." I'm Coach Bobby Brown with Sober Life Right. I am a recovery coach, life coach for people in recovery. I'm also a man in long-term recovery. What that means for me is today I'm living an amazing life free from drugs and alcohol. It's been that way since July 22nd, 2021. I help people through one-on-one coaching, hopefully these videos. I'm going through one of my favorite books, The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. Got my copy right here. I'm trying to do a chapter a day, at least hit the whole book over a 90-day period. Today I'm on chapter 29, which is complete the past to embrace the future. A lot of stuff in this chapter. Last couple of chapters have been pretty kind of small. I may actually break this one down into 2 days because there's pretty cool therapy exercise that you can do yourself that I've never tried that I may take tomorrow and kind of walk through this like live and just see how it works. I'm real big on these like quick ways of changing the way that we think and feel. I'm about results. I'm not a big. I don't think things should take a lot of time for us to make a difference. I am an Amazon affiliate. I'm going to put the link to the book in the description. So if you don't have it, please purchase through me. I'll make a small commission. But either way, just read the book. It is an amazing, I say this every day, just it's an encyclopedia of habits and principles, things that successful people tend to do. Today's chapter is pretty solid, and it ties in really, really well with recovery. And it's all about like taking a look at everything that's happened to us and just getting real honest about it, which fits in line. I work a 12-step program, work a couple of 12-step programs. Kind of, if you're familiar with 12-step, fits in with the, steps 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, all about kind of taking personal inventory, reviewing your past and seeing, okay, where are their patterns, what things have bothered me. It maybe gets into steps 8 and 9 too, talks a little bit about a process for making amends. Jack talks about this total truth process. So that's one of the first parts of the chapter, and it breaks it down into like 6 different portions of it. Starts with what are you angry and resentful about? Then it goes into what are you hurt by? What are your fears? What do you have remorse, regret, need to take accountability for? What are your wants? And then finally, love, compassion, forgiveness, and appreciation. So the book does a much better job than I could do in this video. I'll talk a little bit about my own personal recovery and like some of the things that I had to kind of go through to get where I am today, where I'm like okay with my past. And it's kind of funny. I heard somewhere in a podcast somebody talked about how like programs like 12-step programs, like if you look at it on paper, like logically, like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like most of a 12-step program's got nothing to do with drinking or using. It's got to do with just like changing your way of living. And part of that is looking at your past. It's like a spiritual-based program, and it's like this. Carl Jung talks about it. A part in the book is quoted as saying, like it's a certain type of moral deficiency that, like a moral psychology that people in addiction have. I don't know how true that is. I know that I've worked the 12 steps, and I know that I got exactly what the book said I would get. So that to me is evidence enough. Thinking about some stuff that I had to go through when I was doing my own inventory. Like it took me looking at like who had I actually hurt? Like why was I drinking and using? Like what was I missing in life? And I had to get honest and like realize like there were things I didn't get growing up. There were things I didn't learn. There were things that weren't reinforced to me. my way of living was very much focused on getting my needs and wants met, which isn't necessarily a bad thing if you do it in a healthy way, but it wasn't based on like values. So when you're not living a life based on some sort of values, and you end up at odds with the world, and like everybody's gonna be against you. Fight like it's crazy if you. In retrospect, I sit and I take a look at, okay, like how different is my life today? Today I have like a firm set of values, and it's not just in my head, like it's stuff I've written down on paper, like what kind of person am I going to be? What does it look like to be a man of integrity? What does it mean to have patience? What does it mean to be forgiving, to have self-control? Like there's things I didn't think about for a long time. I thought very, very short-sighted. What's the most likely thing in the moment for me to get exactly what I want? And that's what I would do. I would do these things. A lot of times that was what's going to make me feel good, and it was drugs. Drugs were an instant fix for when I wanted to feel a certain way. They had very predictable results. But unfortunately, they also come with a lot of consequences, not the least of which they make your brain dead. They affect your ability to make decisions. If you're out there and you're seeing this, and you're still, you still use, maybe you drink, maybe you're doing something heavier, let there be no question in your mind that you're limiting your brain function. Like as you are using, you are causing literal brain damage. Like they've done scans of all these different substances, and you can see how the different substances affect different parts of the mind. I was an IV methamphetamine user for years. The brain scans on that are really, really scary. You've got like these whole black areas where there's just no activity. It's the part of the brain that they have determined affects your decision making and your impulse control. That kind of makes it hard to quit drugs once you start. So you are not able to, you don't have the part of your brain functioning that helps you make the decision that, oh, hey, it might be a good idea not to keep putting this substance in my body. Or the impulse control, whatever comes up, all those natural built-in safety things that are there to keep us safe, that's just not even functioning. So everything seems like a good idea. And I can relate to it so much. If I think back, some of the stuff I would do and think it was just okay. I remember I used to have this recurring thought, and I talked to people about it. This weird, perverse joy in how chaotic my week was. With this crazy stuff would happen. Oh, this isn't even the third craziest day this week, and that was it. It was always new people, new place, doing all these dangerous, shady, off the wall, outside of my value things. But in retrospect, makes perfect sense. The part of my brain that was designed to protect me from those things happening was not functioning. The chapter next talks about forgiveness, and how important it is to forgive. There's a quote: "As long as you don't forgive, who and whatever it is will occupy rent-free space in your mind." That's Isabel Holland. She's the author of 28 books. So I'm big on productivity. That's one of the things I like, the idea that any time spent on one thing is time you can't spend on another thing. And so if I think about that in relation to forgiveness, the longer I am carrying anger, resentment, every second I'm thinking about that stuff is time I'm not spending working towards my goals. It's time I'm not spending working towards making this amazing life that I love. It's time that I'm not working on finances or my fitness or a relationship. I'm wasting all this time because I haven't learned how to just say, hey, things happen how they happen, And like, it doesn't mean I have to accept behavior. Like, I certainly am going to learn from how you treated me, and I won't put myself in that position again, maybe. But like, I don't have to remain angry or resentful about it. You know, it happened. It's being able to take control of your perspective and your mindsets is such a powerful tool. Like, to be able to change the way you view things. Like, that's a lot of what recovery is about. So much of it is shifting the way that we perceive the world. It's not that people in recovery's lives are so much better externally. They have the same stuff happen to them. People get sick, people lose jobs, people have breakups. Like, all these things that happen to everybody else happens to people in recovery. But like, something about going through the processes, like, it's to the point where it's like they're viewed in a different way, and life is happier. I've got a good friend that likes to talk about how he's been sober for like 27 years, I think. But he talks about how he's only been in recovery for like 3 years. You know, he was just basically not drinking. He wasn't doing anything to improve his life. His life wasn't any better. But in the last 3 years, he's like dove deep into recovery and like changing the way that he views himself in the world, and he's happy. Like, I talked to him, and he's one of the wisest, just caring, like, good people I know. And I think that's pretty awesome. So the last thing it talks about, and this is the part that I'm going to carry it 2 days for, talks about this thing called tapping. So tapping is a type of therapy that's kind of like an acupressure thing. And basically, it involves like bringing to mind stuff that's either painful or hurtful or you're resentful or angry about, and then doing these tapping in different areas. And there's like 8 different areas you do it, and you do it in a sequence. So I'm gonna do this tomorrow, and I'll explain it more in a video tomorrow. And I'm gonna do some tapping. I don't know what you can use it with limiting beliefs. It says maybe I'll think about like some of my limiting beliefs. I've done a lot of work around my belief system, but I still have some limiting beliefs out there. So maybe I'll try that, and then we'll just do it, and we'll see if it works. You know, Jack is a pretty smart guy, and he swears by it and gives some pretty good examples. Kelly Ripa, like, that's one, got her over a fear of flying by doing tapping. So I mean, that's a pretty good endorsement. And then she brought a bunch of people on that were afraid of roller coasters on a morning talk show, and they all jumped on a roller coaster. So the idea of being able to, like, in just a heartbeat, like, change the way, imagine if you are really, really in the thralls of addiction, like, you just can't stop thinking about drugs and alcohol. What if you could just tap, like, 5 minutes, you could change your whole view on drugs and alcohol. It just no longer was there anymore. That's got some potential, right? There's some hypnotherapists that are claiming those sort of results. There's some stuff I've studied in NLP that I think is pretty interesting, that I'd like to see in action. And I'm curious about how that works. Could you imagine, like, 5 minutes versus, 90 days in a rehab, and followed by outpatient, followed by like all these things, and if you could just, like, very quickly, like, just like that, snap your fingers, and suddenly, like, this desire to, like, you just no longer want to use, drink, or do drugs anymore. I think that's pretty fucking amazing. So that's what we've got for today. I'm at 14 minutes, so that means it's time to wrap this up. If you're looking for a coach, if you are sober, if you want to live an amazing life, if you're new to sobriety, if you're thinking about being sober, you want somebody to walk through it with you, that's exactly what I do. I'd love to connect with you. DM Coach in the comments. Go to my website, www.soberliferight.com. Book a discovery call. Well, let's get together. What I love doing is helping people walk through and live this amazing life. So I hope everyone enjoyed this. Have a wonderful day.